Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from Engadget. Now, this was published on November 15th. And I just have to say, I love how they're trying to portray the mass deplatforming of people, because there was a lot of legitimate, real people that were purged as part of these supposed fake accounts. You know, as just all fake accounts, there's nothing to see here. It's kind of funny. Facebook removed over 1.5 billion fake accounts in the last 6 months. The latest transparency report shows government requests for user data are increasing as well. Now, here's what really needs to be looked at here. This is just an assumption that of these 1.5 billion accounts, all of them were fake. There's no proof given. They just want you to take them at their word. This is when, you know, I mean, this is written by Nathan Ingram, by the way. This is when, which, by the way, look at him. He's a fucking soy boy. This guy is probably a major fucking leftist. Let's take a look real quick. I mean, look at Nathan here. This is a beta fucking cuck if I ever saw one. This is like a fucking cuck among cucks. He's the deputy managing editor at Engadget. Oh, God. Let's see. Let's see what his articles. Facebook removes. Zenbook review. Dropbox taps third-party apps for file editing the web. I mean, he does tech. All right. You know, the MacBook Air or Retina display, Microsoft Quarter, SpaceX, AirBar. I mean, if you look, this guy, there isn't much on these politically motivated articles, but we're going to get into this article here where the cuck among cucks here, Nathan, goes like full SJW kind of. Because, I mean, he's like talking about like Russia and shit like that, like right off the bat. It's been less than a day since the New York Times published a brutal report about the state of affairs of Facebook, including a deep look at the company's failure to properly identify and deal with fake news and Russian interference. Now, wait a minute. This is what's fucked up. There's been no proof of Russian interference, or actual Russian interference. What they call Russian interference was some supposedly bought by Russian Facebook ads that were shown to Americans after the election. After. On top of this, who are they to be the arbitrators of what's fake and what's real news? Because to someone at like Engadget, I'm like this fucking cuck among cucks here. Clearly, the New York Times is not fake news. Clearly, legacy media outlets aren't going to be fake news, but anyone that is alternative media probably is. I'm just getting that kind of vibe here from it. The company already issued a lengthy response to claims, and today Facebook is publishing its biannual transparency report covering the first half of 2018. Facebook says the report covers information about government requests for user data we received, reports on where access to Facebook products and services was disrupted, the number of content restrictions based on local law, and reports of counterfeit copyright and trademark infringement. Now, this is another thing. Facebook is actually publishing what they are banning in certain regions. What a nice way of saying banning, of course, is content restrictions. Instead of going, you know what, we're an American company, fuck off, they've bowed down to every fucking country out there. Because you know what, if they said fuck off, and then Facebook got blocked by that country, people would be up in arms. And it would nip that shit right in the fucking bud. Which is why they won't do it. Because they want the censorship. They want the control. They want to be able to act like a publisher while decrying, you know, government interference and saying, but we're platforms. Don't come after us. We're not doing anything bad. So what if we're censoring these people and deplatforming them? We're still platforms, aren't we? I mean, it's ridiculous how Facebook tries to play the game. As part of its transparency report, Facebook is also publishing its latest community standards enforcement report. In it, the company highlights its efforts in removing content that violates Facebook guidelines, including adult nudity and sexual activity, fake accounts, hate speech, spam, terrorist propaganda, and violence and graphic content, as well as 2 new categories, bullying and harassment, and child nudity and sexual exploitation of children. The timeline covered in April through September of 2018. So what? Child nudity and sexual exploitation of children was fine prior to this point? Because you look, I was going to say something. When I first looked at this, I'm like, oh, I'm going to say something as I was reading this about the fact of how they're talking about adult nudity, but no child nudity. Then I got to the end of the sentence and I went, ah, fuck. It was added later. Because, you know, those pedophiles, they went all, you know, in Silicon Valley, and then the Hollywood went, well, you know, on the left coast went, you know, just to play the game, we should probably finally make it so child nudity is a bad thing. Just openly, but behind closed doors, we'll keep doing our sick, perverted shit. So, I love this idea of Facebook's guidelines. They are a publisher. Okay, their only guidelines should be, does it meet with the Constitution of the United States, being an American company? Yes or no? Is it free speech? Yes? Okay, enough said. Is it the commissioning of a crime or the omission of a crime? Okay, no? It's nothing criminal? Leave it alone. That's what that should be. That's what the guidelines should be. Adult nudity and sexual activity. Don't understand the issues with that, but whatever. I mean, you know, it's supposed to be in I mean, yeah, you have 13-year-olds on it, but you can age restrict the content. And this idea of fake accounts, you just said they removed 1.5 billion accounts that were all fake. When I know for a fact, it's been proven. But if you go look online where all the people have talked about how they've had their accounts removed from Facebook for supposedly being a fake account. They're not a fake account. This hate speech thing. Hate to break it to you, you fucking cuck among cucks, you soy boy, you. Hate speech is not a real thing. It never was, nor will it ever be. As long as I hold breath, I will make sure that it will never be. Or at least I will try. I will do everything in my damn power. Which ain't much at this point, except for being able to talk about it out here. But I'll do whatever I can. Because the thing is hate speech is literally a term that was created by the USSR, that they had codified by the UN, so that they could label anything that was critical and contrary to the Soviet, you know, way of doing things and their propaganda, could be labeled as such, could be labeled as hate speech, and go, well, it needs to be silenced. That's hateful. And you wonder why cultural Marxists, I mean, it was literally created by Marxists, and you wonder why cultural Marxists embrace this shit of hate speech. Huh. Could be that they're Marxists. Terrorist propaganda. Okay? Then how come there's a shit ton of ISIS accounts that manage to keep popping up on Facebook that don't get removed? Huh. Okay. What do they consider graphic content? I mean, actual news? And this bullying and harassment. If you say something that upsets someone, okay, like the idea of there's only 2 biological sexes, with the outlier, the biological mutation, or we'll say, because I can't think of the word I want to use here, but that outlying mutation of intersex. That could be considered hate speech. It could also be considered bullying if you say it to someone who thinks that they're a fucking, you know, God, one of the 65 fucking gender, fucking wonderkin, fucking whatever. That could be considered hate speech on that idea. I mean, and bullying. And if you say it like in a discussion, you reiterate it, harassment. The timeline covered is April through September of 2018. There's a lot to unpack here, but at a high level, Facebook says it's removed over 1.5 billion fake accounts from April through September, up from the 1.3 billion accounts that were removed in the previous 6 months. So it's removed almost 3 billion accounts that are supposedly all fake. That doesn't raise any red flags with you? Because it sure as shit raises red flags with me that all of these accounts are supposedly fake, when if you go look, there are a lot of people online talking about how they've had their accounts terminated for being supposedly fake. If you were wondering just how widespread false content and accounts are on the platform, wonder no more. While Facebook is able to pull down more than 90% of instances of adult nudity and sexual activity, child nudity, sexual exploitation of children, fake accounts, spam, terrorist propaganda, and violence and graphic content, there are two categories where its content moderation falls down. Facebook only found and removed 14.9% of bullying and harassment before users reported them. It also only found 51.6% of hate speech violations before users reported them. Time frame was July through September of this year. So let me translate that. Okay? Something wasn't bullying until a whiny little bitch cried to Facebook and a leftist took pity because they got triggered. That's what they're saying. And you know, that's that 14.9% of bullying and harassment. It is someone got triggered, got a bug up their ass, and whined and cried to Facebook, and another leftist took sympathy and got triggered, and then they decided to remove it. And then this idea of 51.6% of hate speech violations. Asshole. As I've already said, there is no fucking such thing as hate speech. You cock-gobbling cuck bitch. Okay? Sorry to break it to you, but there's no such thing. And the only reason why it became hate speech is because someone got triggered. There's only free speech. You either have it or you don't. And you clearly don't want it. Just like Facebook doesn't want it. Just like anyone on the left these days doesn't want it. You cuck among cucks. You are clearly on the left. Looking at you, dude, you're such a soy boy. You are clearly on the fucking left. Your tonality in this proves that you are clearly on the fucking left. You don't want people to have free speech unless it's the free speech that goes along with your feels. You fucking cuck bitch. Jesus. This is the first time Facebook is reporting on bullying and harassment. So we'd expect to see that numbers rise as the company puts more focus behind it. Similarly, while Facebook has a long way to go to get as good at catching hate speech as it is catching other bad behavior, it's doing a much better job than it did a year ago. Asshole. Bullying and harassment. All someone has to do is block the other person. It's a non-issue. Because people on the left are such whiny little bitches who can't figure out that they can block someone or mute them or whatever because they don't want to figure that out. The rest of us have to suffer? Fuck off. The rest of us have to have our speech censored? Fuck you. The rest of us have to bow down to your shit because you're all special little snowflakes? Fuck off. Get bent. Sit and spin. You're all pathetic. Alright, there's no such thing as hate speech. Facebook only caught 23.6% of hate speech prior to it being reported, a number that has more than doubled as of today's report. Anything could be considered hate speech because if something triggers someone, boom, by the idea of hate speech, it's hate speech. Oh, there's two biological sexes. Hate speech! And that's literally happened on multiple Silicon Valley platforms, where it's been censored because someone's been censored because they said a fucking scientific fact. Perhaps related to the increased scrutiny Facebook is under, the company reports that government requests for account data increased worldwide by around 26% compared to the second half of 2017. 103,815 requests total, up from 82,341. In the U.S., government requests increased by 30%. In 56% of those cases, the U.S. government prohibited Facebook from notifying the user. Now, I love this. They're trying to portray the fact that these companies are now under more scrutiny. In the United States, they're under scrutiny because of censorship. Not this Russia bullshit, at least by the Trump administration, which is where these requests are coming from. But yeah, you're trying to portray it totally fucking different than what it is. Oh, well, the U.S. government's increase. Oh, that has to be doing with my Russia and you know, no. This has to do with the fact of them censoring, what you're calling for. You know, that little chestnut that you seem to like. Given the fire that Facebook has been under since the New York Times report was published yesterday, not to mention everything the company has been dealing with for the past 2 years, it is not surprising to see it try and release some positive numbers here. Yeah, you mean literally censorship and shit like that and bragging about it. You know, removing people from the platform while claiming they're not a person. Bragging about it. You think that's a good thing? Because you're a fucking cuck shitbag. You're a soy boy beta. Well, no, you're not even a beta. You're a fucking omega cuck. Because you're like that, you think this is a good thing. You're a piece of shit, dude. Go write about fucking technology alone. Don't write about this shit. Because your bias and your fucking leftist, cuckery comes through. You're fucking pathetic, dude. You are such a sad, pathetic little man, it's not even funny. But in all likelihood, the furor around the company's continued avoidance of responsibility for the many issues it is linked to will continue. See, the focus you're talking about is hate speech and shit like that, when they've had breach after breach. How about you focus on that shit instead of them silencing people that are right of you, you fucking waste of space? How about that? Would that be too hard? Would that be too much to ask for? Huh? You cuck among cucks? That said, the company continues to make more money and attract more new users, albeit at a slower pace than in the past. Bullshit! Bullshit! A bunch of those people are people who had to recreate accounts. That's not new users, number one. Number two, they're hemorrhaging users. They're losing them to sites like Minds, which is why if you post something from Minds, they have you jump through these hoops and do one of those CAPTCHA things that says, I'm not a robot, every fucking time. Now, if you're a long-time user, you've already said 50 fucking times, hey, I'm not a robot. You think they would get it through their friggin' heads at Facebook that you're not a robot and you're intentionally posting something from Minds. The only reason why they would do that and try to claim that a link to Minds is unsecure is because it's a threat, and they are losing people to it. If they are losing people at a level that necessitates that, if they are having young users not use Facebook and delete the app from their phone, which they just a study had come out, like young kids have done that. They're not gaining users, and a lot of those accounts now are probably bot accounts because they opened the floodgates with that shit. Because they've purged 3 billion users from their platform. on a planet where there's 7 billion people. They need to inflate their numbers. And I think they would turn a blind eye to these bots so that they could go, well, our users are growing. I mean, you were stupid enough to fall for that shit when they're hemorrhaging losers to fucking, I mean, not losers, users. Why did I say losers? Because Facebook is a bunch of losers. Because they're losing a bunch of users to mines. Until that trend changes, it's hard to expect Facebook will act any differently than it does now. So what you're saying is until they're friggin' exposed for their shitbaggery and purging a bunch of legitimate users in those almost 3 billion, shit like that, it's just business as usual. Good to know. I mean, this just goes to show the mentality of the left right now. The mentality of Facebook. Well, they're left, but you get the idea. The people in charge, they're left. Marussia. They led right off the bat with Marussia bullshit. They then talk about, oh, well, these are fake accounts without any proof. They then go and talk about hate speech. I mean, this is literally a propaganda piece for the censorship of wrongthink, the censorship of anyone that's right, of this fucking cuck that wrote this cuck among cucks. It really is. It truly is. And it's ridiculous that Engadget, which used to be about tech, like TechCrunch, has become like full of itself on this politicking, cultural Marxist crap. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.